Welcome back, artists. Now that we have our plan done for our print, we need to start thinking about color. The first thing that we're going to start with on the color wheel are the primary colors. Remember that the solid triangle represents the primary colors and that the primary colors are the Superman colors. They are red, yellow, and blue. These colors are so important because they can mix all the other colors on the color wheel, and you are not able to mix any paints to make red, yellow, and blue, so you have to purchase those. It doesn't matter where you put your primary colors on the color wheel, but once you have them placed, every other color has the correct place. So there's only one right color that can go here, or here, or here. When we put red plus yellow, we get the secondary color of orange. When we mix yellow plus blue, we get green. And when we mix red plus blue, we get purple or violet. Those are your secondary colors, also represented by the dotted triangle. And then finally, on our 12 color wheel, we have the tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are made by mixing a primary and the secondary next to it. I would mix red and orange. Again, red plus orange equals, and we're not very fancy in art, we call it red-orange. The primary color always goes first when you are naming tertiary colors. So when I mix orange and yellow, orange plus yellow, I don't get orange-yellow, I get yellow-orange. And these are kind of smaller circles, so you can also just represent it by the first letter of the color. So for example, here we have yellow plus green. You can just write it as YG for yellow-green. Green plus blue would be blue-green. Blue plus violet is blue-violet or blue-purple. Violet plus red is red-violet. I can think about my groups of colors. So these are just another way to think about the colors and where their location is on the color wheel. So for the primary colors, we have a hint here, right? It's usually the triangle that is the correct way, and those colors are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary is typically the upside down triangle on the color wheel, and those are orange, green, and violet. And then the tertiary colors are the 12 colors in between, the smaller circles, oftentimes on the color wheel. So depending on where you start, I'm going to start with red-orange, then I'm going to have yellow-orange, then I have yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, and red-violet. Complementary colors, as a reminder, we put an arrow here because complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. So red and green, orange and blue, yellow and violet are complementary colors. And I'd like to think of the Christmas colors, red and green, Chicago Bears, orange and blue, or the Vikings, yellow and violet. Analogous colors are neighbors on the color wheel. When we have 12 colors, it's important to include the tertiary colors when you include the analogous colors. So analogous are neighbors. And maybe you just want to write that down as a reminder. So for analogous colors, I could start wherever I wanted and work my way around. So this one has 4 colors. So I could start here with red-orange. Then if I go towards orange, yellow, orange, and yellow. And there I have 4 colors. Here I could just do 3 colors. I could do green, blue, green, and blue. And then this one has 5 colors, so I need to go 5 spaces. Yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, and blue, green. So you're just thinking of 5 colors in a row. A true analogous color has to have some of the color in each one, so it shouldn't cross past a primary. So An analogous group shouldn't include 2 primers, it should only include 1. And finally, we have the monochromatic, which aren't on the color wheel. Mono means 1, and chromatic means color. So I'm picking one color and I'm creating different values of it. So maybe I would do blue. I can't do blue-green or blue-violet. Those are different colors. But I could do a light blue. And this is where I'm adding white. I could put a dark blue. And maybe I call it a medium blue. These can be hard to describe. They're better, it's easier to do this with color itself. So you might, instead of writing this down, maybe you're just going to say this one's going to be a blue and this one's going to be green. And then when it comes to coloring time, you look at different greens to fill those in. Now it is time to color. It doesn't matter which medium you use. You could use markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever you have. And you're just going to very carefully color in your shapes. I wanted to show you one trick that you could use for monochromatic color schemes. When you are using colored pencils or crayons, you could use just a single color and change the pressure. So if I'm going to start with green and I want this to be the darkest, I'm going to use really firm pressure on this one, and then as I go, I'm going to get softer and softer with my pressure. So I'm just going to go really dark here, pressing down as hard as I can, doing my best to avoid breaking the crayon, because sometimes that can happen when you're pressing really hard. And then you're going to soften the pressure when you do the next one. Now this is quite a big change from one color to the next, but I'm going to see if I can lighten it enough so that each color looks different. I think I might have to go back and color a little bit harder on some of those, because these two look pretty much the same. So we'll call that my lightest one. So now I'm going to use that light pressure again, and I'm going to go over it one more time to add a little bit more color to it. So it's looking slightly darker. Okay, so now I can see a difference between the two. But now these two look similar, so I need to add some more to this one. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to press a little bit firmer than I did even with this one. You can see how that's a slightly different value. So this is another trick that artists use when they are using crayon or colored pencil. They change the pressure, but I'm using this one single color. And now that you have your color work done, the next thing to decide is you have to incorporate at least 2 different color schemes, and you can use any of the ones that you see on here. That doesn't mean you have to use the colors you put on here, but you could use analogous, you could use monochromatic, complementary, tertiary, primary, or secondary. So you have to do at least 2. We're going to be making 4 prints. You could do 4 different color schemes, but you are required to do 2.